Hello and welcome to the Pop Pod. I am Sam, also known as Pop Sam Cam. It is Bop or Flop Fridays and we missed last week, so we are here this week for a bumper episode. I have Jono with me, producer Jono. Hello Jono, how are you?
Ciao from Italy.
Ciao, we're
You're
both
also
in
in Italy.
Italy.
Yeah.
I'm up north and you're down south.
Yeah, exactly. You're still avoiding me, even if we're in the same bloody country. Absolutely shocked.
I know.
Horror.
We are actually quite close. I think that I could make it to you maybe in 5 hours on a train.
Well, you've not
So
tried.
we didn't feel
Let's
like
see how
it was
you go.
worth it. I'm on a train right now heading to you so we can discuss Addison Rae. It's that important.
Oh my god, I missed it talking about last week. Have you recovered from Primavera?
I've recovered from Primavera. It was a big weekend. We were just talking before the call about Primavera in general, and I think I've summed it up like quite a lot on TikTok and Instagram. But like we were talking about Turnstile being in the pit for post-hardcore band Turnstile, which if you listen to the podcast, you probably wouldn't expect that kind of behavior from me. But I took my whole friend group to Turnstile. We left after it. Someone had been punched in the face. My friend had bruises all down her arm. My friend's sunglasses had been stomped on. Like, it was chaos. But I
What, so
loved
now,
it.
Sam, you're encouraging violence to your fans? Go see Turnstile
I'm
and get
absolutely
punched
encouraging violence. If there's a time to be violent, it's right now.
We don't have enough of it in the world, actually. Turn it
We
up.
don't have enough violence. We do not have enough violence. There was less violence at Chapel Roan, however, and Sabrina Carpenter and Charlie XCX. Actually, there was a bit of violence at Charlie XCX. The crowd was absolutely rogue, which I loved because the Coachella crowd was much calmer. But she absolutely killed it. And I love that it showed like this, just like the trio of pop from last year, like in one space. So I could compare them all. And obviously I loved them all, but I thought Chapel was just like next level.
Yeah.
It was a bit depressing to watch it this year, though, knowing that pop has taken quite a severe turn. And if you want to hear more about that, next week's Pop Pod episode is on conservatism in pop music. So tune in for that one. Alex Warren and Benson Boone stands.
Where Benson Boone is at.
Where the Booners at. I just thought this is a complete side note, but he must have been told by his label to explain the album cover of him with the American flag behind him. So he went on Fallon and talked about it and said that he was in a car crash when he was about 15 or 16 and kind of like told this story about he and his friend was in it, and he kind of contemplated like the preciousness of life, and that led him to that album cover.
When we were younger, we got in a car accident, and it wasn't like a typical car accident. We were driving in a field. We were driving in his backyard, and we flipped the car. And like in that moment, I was young. I was maybe like 15 or 16, and you know, when you're 15 or 16, you're never like, oh wow, it would really suck to die right now, because you don't even think about death. You're like 15
You're invincible.
or 16, exactly. And in that moment, it was like the first time in my life that I was like, oh my gosh, like this dude, my best friend, he means everything to me. I don't want to die right now, a young American.
I thought you were about to
I was
say
like,
he was in a car crash
okay.
and backflipped out of the seatbelt, and that's why he keeps backflipping, because it's him escaping.
It's kind of like me being cancelled and then being like, well, my parents divorced, and people will be like, okay, what's the link?
Someone said to him, be more vulnerable, and he was like, well, I was in bumper cars 10 years ago, so should I talk about that?
Yeah, should I just use that? They're like literally flicking through like his traumatic events. They're like, nah, that won't work. Nah, that won't work. Oh, car crash. That's excellent.
He's like, one time I was in traffic for 3 hours. They're like, yeah, tell that on Fallon.
Yeah, he'll love that. Was it LA? Anyway, this is just putting off talking about the actual huge news story of the week, which is when I saw Sabrina Carpenter on Saturday night, I heard Manchild for the first time. But at that point, we had no idea that Manchild was the lead single for a new album called Man's Best Friend, which is out at the end of August. I think it's basically a year and a week after she released Short and Sweet.
I know. Manchild, why you always
I was not expecting a new album from Sabrina this year at all, considering we got the deluxe just a couple months ago. Like, were you expecting that Manchild was going to be a lead single?
No, it's not a lead single for me at all, to be honest.
You've got to wait
But
for Bob or Flop for that. You've just given it away.
no, I still could bop it. It's just not a lead single.
Okay.
No, I was absolutely shook, to be honest. Although looking back at her, I went back on her discography and she does release music quite often. I think COVID was the longest gap she had between albums, so probably shouldn't be
Yeah.
that much of a surprise to people who have been there with her from the beginning. But we can talk about Manchild after, but it was quite a surprise. What do you think about the album cover? Because it's causing quite a stir.
My comments have been lighting up. I'm very heavily on one side, which is like learn to read into things a little bit more because
Yeah.
like come on. The people who are saying that she's intentionally degrading herself because her entire existence as a pop star is about the male gaze, like listen to a single lyric from her last album.
Yeah,
Like
completely
comedy
agree.
and satire is like literally at the heart of what she does, and her entire show on Saturday was flipping like 1950s advertisements that were like traditionally misogynistic and
Yeah.
like pointing fun at that. So like we're just in this era, and I'm really sorry if you're Gen Z and you're listening, but like we got to start some critical thinking. And like I know we're like two men talking about this, and if you're a
Yeah.
woman who looks at that and feels triggered or whatever, like I understand that, and I understand that that's where like it gets tricky and murky, and I don't want to mansplain this. I just think that we need to like think about eras. Like so many pop stars have used this kind of provocative sort of flipping of the script, and I just don't like see it as being any different to that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like what we like when I first looked at it, I honestly didn't even think about it, but that's obviously a bit of a like male privileged position. But yeah, I just feel like we need to read into it a little more.
Yeah, I agree. I thought the art direction was really cool. I just thought the actual photography was bad. I was like, can the lighting be a bit better, please? Because I could barely see it. But also, it just I
Didn't
feel
take
like it
us.
feeds.
You were offended by the
I was
technicalities
offended by the
behind
lighting,
it. Yeah.
which is actually a big thing coming from me because I never have good lighting.
Well, you'll be glad to know I've got a little portable light that I've brought because I knew that that would send you if I'd. You've got beautiful, fully a natural light.
I feel like you're doing this for the male gaze with your terrible lighting. Also, I just think I'm not an expert in any sense, but like, doesn't it just harken back to like, oh, if you're showing femininity or like submission, then that means that like you're doing that for men. It's just like totally degrading. Like, I don't know. It feeds into the whole alpha narrative of like you have to be dominant or whatever to be in
Totally.
control. It's just not true, and that's not. I don't think that's really what feminism is either. So she knows what
I
she's
was
doing. I
just
think her
talking
fans
to
know.
I was just talking to Bianca about this to get a female perspective, and she was talking about something she read about like the kind of purity, almost like highbrowness that's existing in femininity right now, or feminism
Mm,
right now, and how
yeah,
that's kind of leading to the criticism of anything that's seen to be impure or too explicit to fit between the lines of feminism. It's look,
yeah,
it's a huge conversation, and like it's a good conversation to have, but if we're gonna like if there's gonna be fury on the internet this week, it doesn't need to be about that. There's a lot more going on, and if you don't want to get furious about that, there's always Morgan Wallen. You can jump into his DMs. I can send you some pre-written messages you can send him if you like. Maybe I'll put a little pack up that you can download. It's like a writing to your local council kind of like, it's just put your name in note. Anyway, album is out at the end of August. The outrage will probably well and truly be gone by that, and everybody
yeah,
will be devouring it. Let's move into Bop or Flop because our first Bop or Flop, I think. So we're gonna take some songs from last week because we didn't do it, and this week's kind of shit, to be honest. So we'll start with Sabrina Carpenter's Manchild, produced by Jack Antonoff. Obviously, the first single off Man's Best Friend. We know that now.
yeah.
It's so when I heard it, I was like, okay, Then I saw it live and I absolutely loved it. I love the production of it, but I'm a huge fan of Busy Woman, and I think that it ties into that really nicely. Now that I know it's lead single of an album, I'm a bit like, I'm wondering whether there's going to be enough development with this, because it definitely fits in the short and sweet world. But I think it's another bop from her, and I think she's kind of incapable of making a song that doesn't quite hit the mark at this point. I think she's probably like the best hit maker in pop music right now, apart
Yeah.
from Jelly Roll.
Jelly Roll's literally my nickname by the pool in Puglia because I've just got my stomach out. I think so. You're giving this song a bop.
Definitely, yeah. I
Okay.
wouldn't think of doing otherwise.
I feel I wouldn't dare think of that. I think the song's fine. It just sounds like a deluxe short and sweet song. It doesn't sound like anything very new. And I feel like if it was just a standalone kind of song, I'd be like, oh, that's good. Like keep the momentum going. I liked the music video. But if it's the lead single for the next album, like it's not different enough to make me excited at all, I'm afraid. But I
But
think the
maybe it's a
context does
bridge.
matter. Yeah. But then Good Luck Babe was like that, and Good Luck Babe hit really hard. Like I couldn't wait to listen to it more, I think.
Yeah, interesting to bring up Good Luck Babe, because it sounds very similar to Good Luck
Yeah.
Babe in parts, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe once we hear the album, it will feel the difference a little bit more. But I'm not mad about having this song. And like, I'm
No.
personally not mad about her just like data dumping on us right now, if the music stays at like a pretty consistent quality.
No, I don't care either actually, which is probably a good point. I'm quite like the quickness of it I don't care about. I think it's just I feel like maybe she knew or the team knew that it wasn't as strong, so they just released it and then suddenly said the album's out, and I'm like, otherwise why wouldn't you say the lead single for my next album up front?
Because I think they were waiting to see what the performance was going to be. And now that it's like #1 on global Spotify, it's projected to be #1 in the US. Next week, I assume it will be similar in the UK. Like, I think they were like, oh, it works.
Mm,
Let's just announce it.
the die with the
Because
smile
otherwise,
tactic. Add it to the
exactly. Yeah.
album. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Or
a
they
good
saw the
point.
results and they were like, you've got 5 days to put together an album. Like, scrap it together.
The album's
We've
delayed
got
a
Jack on
year.
a
This is
retainer
terrible.
and he's in the studio waiting for you.
Yeah, that's so true. Okay, yeah, that's a fair point. It's still a bop. It's not I can't flop this song, but I didn't listen to it. You know, with Please, 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 I listened to it. I was like, oh, it's okay. And the more I listened, the more I was like, this is amazing. So
Yeah.
maybe it will grow on me, but
This one
the
is doing that
chorus.
for me over the
Okay,
week.
fair.
But yeah, I know that a lot of people have a similar response to it that you do. Let's move on to another bop or flop, which is Addison Rae's Times Like These. Addison released her debut album. Addison,
My life moves faster than me. Can't feel the ground beneath my feet.
her first and last album as Addison Rae. She will now continue as Addison in the future, which is hilarious. I don't think anybody expected the response that this album was going to get. Kind of critically lauded. 8 out of
Mm-hmm.
10 from Pitchfork, which was extremely unexpected. Projected to
kinda
debut
ate.
around #4 on the Billboard 200. Maybe better first week sales than the Miley Cyrus album. Like, this is some main pop girl shit for Addison. But the funny thing is, I think that Times Like These doesn't give main pop girl to me in a very good way. Like, it's an extremely subtle song, very gentle, kind of like Swim, Ray of Light, Madonna
Yeah.
vibes to it, which I think is an aesthetic that she's been keeping for most of the tracks from this album. And just like, again, just like letting enough vulnerability in for us to get to know her a little bit more, similar to what she did on Headphones On, like dropping a few lines about her past and the way she feels about being this kind of it girl figure. And I just really like I don't know, I really like the tone of the chorus. I really like that it's got this real sort of unsettling melancholy to it. And just like dropping in times like these, this is how it's got to be, or something like that. And it's kind of like,
Yeah.
in times like what? Like, what specifically? But at the same time, I'm like, I love it. I'm in whatever time it is. I'm there. Like
It's
lunchtime,
mysterious. The grey
whatever. It feels
area.
sad, and I'm here for it. I think that it's a
Addison grey
really
area.
good moment for her. I think the album's a great moment from her. It's a bop from me. What about you?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I feel like we haven't talked probably as much because we've both been busy about this album, but I feel like it's iconic. She just knows the pop landscape. Like this song shows it. Like you were saying with the Ray of Light. She said she didn't have any slow songs on it. This is the closest thing probably really to like a slower song or like ballad territory, but it's still not. It's still um like melancholic, but it's not like a really slow
Yeah.
ballad or has some she's not doing
Yeah, which
something
I
that she doesn't want
love.
to
It's
do.
such a hard
Yeah.
vibe to get right.
Yeah, I agree. It's really nice. I never question her lyrics because I just kind of feel like it's just fun pop. Like I don't really need to know the ins and outs of what she's talking about. I didn't realize, you probably do, that the Tate versus Addison stands have this war like Katie versus Gaga back in the day.
What? Are you serious?
Have you seen it?
No.
Sam, all over my Twitter are like people, I think classic. I've liked 2 Addison tweets, and everyone in the comments underneath are like, Tate is way better. Like, can't believe like people are giving this album. And then the Addison stands like posting screenshots of like the pitchfork reviews of both albums. Like, it genuinely seems like a war between the stands.
It's such an interesting comparison because Tate is so technically brilliant, like a trained dancer, a pretty strong singer, like has a pretty unbreakable team around her in terms of Ryan Tedder and co. And then you've got
Mm.
Addison, who obviously needs like some vocal work, is like a nice dancer, but like not, she's not going to win. So you think you can dance or anything, you know? Um, but just has like taste, I think, just like
Yeah.
has a very strong idea of who she is as an artist, and like aesthetically and also sonically, and having that really tight team of like Elvira and Luca, the 2 producers who worked on this album, is just like, I don't know, her
Mm.
artistry just feels like more unbreakable than Tate's does, maybe. Not to get in the middle of this like argument, because honestly, I think the 2 are just such different artists. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's funny that there's a thing.
I'm
You know,
shocked.
you know what's so funny? Like people would come up at Primavera and be like, "I love the pod" or whatever. Somebody came up and told me they loved you on the pod,
Oh.
which they were really drunk, so I think that
I'll
was
wire
probably
the money
why.
later.
But the major thing that everybody was saying was like, "Have you listened to Addison's album?" That was like first breath was that straight away, and I was like, honestly, apart from being at this festival, I've had about 10 minutes where I haven't been asleep either way, so. I've literally got up and was like, okay, I need to go out and listen to this Addison album because I'm being like clocked now. I need to,
Yeah.
I need to know what this is all about. But I was very impressed. This is a bop. I'm assuming it's a
It's a
bop
bop.
from you too. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
The next one is Mariah Carey's Type Dangerous. Obviously, I would say Addison Rae is the Mariah Carey of our generation now.
Careful, you'll get the Tate McRaces coming after you.
I don't have time for the rigmarole. Taking off my coat, clearing my throat. Certified diamonds like the songs I wrote.
Mariah Carey is having kind of like a renaissance year. It's the 20th anniversary, 20th, 25th anniversary of Emancipation of Mimi. 20th, surely. 20th
think
anniversary
20th,
of
yeah.
Emancipation of Mimi. Interestingly, she's hired the same company who Usher worked with, who kind of orchestrated his comeback when he did the Super Bowl and then did that big greatest hits tour. They're working with her this week, and Type Dangerous is the lead single off her 16th album coming soon. This like just threw me straight back to Emancipation of Mimi. Like the beat's really cool, I think. Her vocal sounds suspiciously clean on this. I love the way that she pronounces rigmarole on it. I just think it's like kind of classic Mariah and so outside of anything that's happening within like the modern pop space right now that she's kind of like strategically just playing to her own strengths. And honestly, that's what you should be doing at this point. Like if she tried to make a Sabrina Carpenter song, I would be like really bashing my head against the wall. So I'm happy she's in this
Yeah.
space and it's a bop for me.
Okay, interesting. It's an absolute flop Tina from me.
Why?
It doesn't even sound like her. I was like, is she even singing? This sounds like a
Oh,
demo.
I
And
don't
then she
think
just
we have
adds
to
a few ad
criticize
libs at the
that.
end. I love Mariah and I love all of like a lot of her new stuff as well. This is so bad. I actually was like, I messaged my friend whose partner is a lamb. I was like, does he like it? Because I was like, how can you like this song? And
And
he
what did
loves
he
it.
say?
He loves it.
Yeah, I
Apparently
don't think
just
it's
playing it every
bad.
hour. Yeah. I think I'm Silence the Lambs on this song. I don't want to hear it again. I want the next song to be much better. I love Mariah. I'm rooting for her renaissance. She deserves it, but not with this song. I don't think you'll
Okay, maybe on
hear
the
this
next
song
one.
played again after next year.
After next year, that's quite generous, I think. I'd be surprised if it makes it through the next few weeks.
Well, she's playing Brighton Pride in August, so she's definitely got till the end of the year. Next few weeks.
Watching
I thought you
her
said it was
live on
good.
stage is like watching a concert in slow motion. She moves at such a glacial pace. It is insane. Like
She doesn't need to move
I
faster. She's on her own
couldn't believe
time.
it. I actually thought that I had been like chemically altered when I was watching her in Vegas because the speed that she was moving, I was like, this is slower than a tortoise. It's insane. Even when she's performing something like It's Like That or Shake It Off, which has a bit of speed to it, I'm like, can she not move any quicker? That's what I want to know.
She is
If I was
actually
behind her in the at the supermarket, I would be furious.
is genuinely a comedian. I don't think
She's
I've seen a
so
funny
funny.
out diva. I think Beyonce sung Diva about her because literally it was just like she
Oh,
doesn't
she's
care.
the number one diva.
Number one
Nobody is a
diva.
greater diva than Mariah Carey. And I love it.
No, I
I'll
love
eat
it
up
too.
everything she does. She's one of my absolute all-time favorites.
I love her, but I
Okay,
won't eat
so
up
it's a
everything
flop
she
from
does
you
like
and
this.
it's a bop from me.
It's type terrible for me.
We just keep talking about artists who are in very similar territory because now we have Ethel Cain's Nettles. Famously very inspired
similar.
by Mariah Carey.
Not Ethel Carey.
It wasn't pretty like the movies. It was ugly like what they all did to me.
This is the lead single from her forthcoming album, Willoughby Tucker, I'll Always Love You, follows on from January's Perverts. Very different vibe to Perverts. And for me, like kind of a lighter vibe than what she gave us on Preacher's Daughter. This feels like there's almost like a weird optimism thrown in with the just total bleakness that you get with an Ethel Cain song. 8 minutes long, but feels like it floats by. Like I found this just to be like a really stirring first listen, and I feel like she is just so excellent that and so like in her own lane that it's almost hard to poke holes in what she does because it's just so unique to her and just so unswayed by anything that's happening in any other space of music. I mean, like Lana is probably the easiest tie that you can make, but even Lana's not making 8-minute songs that like are such a world building exercise. So I love this, like absolutely love it. It's a bop from me.
Yeah.
I'm interested to know how you feel about it on an Italian holiday in Puglia. I don't know if Nettles is really the song of the summer for you down there.
We played it in the car because I was like,
Did
I need to
you?
listen again. Yeah. Everyone was silent, just staring out the window. But I thought that I think it's really nice. Ethel is very confident. She knows what she wants. Like she'll do it. She proved that with Perverts, which I still think should be a visual art installation somewhere. I think it's
It
it's
really
desperate
should
for
be.
visuals.
It should be at the Tate, and people should be trapped in a room for an hour and just like absolutely
with
assaulted
really
with it.
like American Horror Story visuals, like quickly changing
Yeah.
to like everything.
Yeah.
But I think the song's a bop. It's really nice. It's sprawling. It seems epic. It's almost got a bit of country with some of the like, I don't know, guitar elements or something.
Yeah, there's definite country to it. I felt that too.
Yeah, which I think actually suited. I liked the like layers of vocaling throughout the song. I think she's obviously alienating the mainstream, but that's on purpose. So it's kind of like neither here
Definitely.
nor there, really. But I think it's a
Yeah, I
bop.
don't think
I don't
we're
think you could
about to
flop
hear
the
this
song.
on the radio.
No.
They would
No.
literally have to interrupt this song with ads, I think, in the middle. It's so long.
Even Adele wanted to do like a 9-minute song, didn't she? And they were like, "Oh, no, I drink wine or whatever," and they were like, "No." So even
Yeah,
she
she
was like, "Oh,
was.
whatever."
I need to hear that 9-minute version of "I Drink Wine," to be
Same.
honest, because even the 6 minutes not enough. I loved how long all the songs were on that album, even when it was just the kid being when she was mocking her kid. At all. At all.
Apulia. All
All
my
right, that
God.
concludes the songs we're covering from last week. Let's go into this week. We just have 2 to talk about because honestly, this week takes a major step back from last week. But next week will be exciting. We've got the new Haim album. There is a new single from Jade coming as well. So there's a few things on the calendar. But the first song from this week is RAYE's Suzanne. She's teamed up with Mark Ronson for a collaborative single. I think that people were just kind of waiting for this moment to happen because obviously RAYE kind of is seen in the lineage of artists like Amy Winehouse. Mark Ronson has produced for Amy Winehouse, has this real like vintage soul heart to the kind of production that he does. So it totally makes sense to see him with RAYE. This is kind of not what I was expecting in that it's not a play for a hit whatsoever. It's almost like more of a vintage kind of jazz feel to it. RAYE sounds incredible. I think that it's some of the like better production that Mark Ronson has done in the last couple years. And I think that just comes from the two of them doing nothing but just like enjoying themselves, it sounds like. And it's refreshing. Apparently, the song that RAYE has made for the F1 soundtrack, which anybody who listens knows
Here
that
we go
Jono
again.
is champing at the bit to hear the F1 soundtrack. But apparently it's also produced by Mark Ronson, which makes me believe that they are working together like
Okay.
quite consistently on this new RAYE record that I assume she's working on. I like this. I think it's a bop. Like I'm gonna need a little bit more time with it because I wasn't like jumping up and down for it immediately, but I do like it. What do you think? Because this song to me feels like it's very in your lane.
I was gonna say this song is so me. I
It's
literally
so
heard the
you.
snippet and I was like, I cannot wait for this. I totally agree with you. It's a perfect marriage between like Mark Ronson and RAYE. Like, why haven't they worked together even sooner? I feel, or maybe they have, but I feel like it's just like a classic combo. It's probably not a play for like a radio hit or whatever, but it is probably going to get a Grammy. I feel it's just one of those songs. Like it's done really well. The verses are good. The chorus is like, it's just her voice is so soulful. It's silky. The melody's so good. It's right up my street. It feels like a Valerie Part 2, but not in a annoying, like trying to make be that way. It just feels like a natural, like different song. Like you said, Mark Ronson's production is really good. You can tell that RAYE's like an amazing storyteller and she always has been. So I think I'd love to see multiple pieces of work from them in terms of songs and albums. If you see me
I
keep
think that
moving
we're gonna
around
get
in
that.
video, by the way, it's because I'm getting absolutely ravaged by mosquitoes.
That happened to me last night here too. Don't come to Italy, anyone.
I was gonna say
It's a
for
jungle out
us, it's
here.
so annoying. Like sun, like pool. It's literally like mosquitoes. I can't believe it. It's
If you're
rotten
not
luck.
watching this, Jono has like an olive tree in the background. You're drinking a glass of wine. It's like a
With the
beautiful
sun
white
pouring
wall
in.
behind you, and you're whinging. You've got your own
You
personal song of
agreed.
the
You lapped
summer
it up
in
straight away.
Suzanne. And you know what Suzanne reminds me of? It reminds me of our French teacher called Suzanne.
I was gonna say our French teacher
who we bullied so
Suzanne.
hard into giving us a a French breakfast that she ended up crying.
You bullied. I didn't bully her at all. I was lovely to her.
I didn't bully her. She was really nice.
You
She was
just
very
said you
sweet.
did. She
Well,
was.
we collectively. Do you think I had the gumption to bully at that stage?
Oh, I thought you were
was
saying
not.
we as in yes. Anyway,
All
that's
right,
terrible.
beautiful. Okay, the final song we're ending on is Zara Larsson's Midnight Sun. This is the title track off her forthcoming album. It's the second single from it. The first one was called Pretty Ugly. Jono and I disagreed on that one.
Well, yeah, because it was a pretty ugly bloody song.
I still think it's bop, and I still like it.
Skinny dipping with your heart out is my favorite part. Now we ain't gotta tell no one. A never-ending midnight sun.
This album's being executive produced by MNEK, who, of course, worked with Zara on Never Forget You, which was probably one of her biggest hits and one of his biggest hits as well. I think that's a perfect team up. And while I don't think this song is as like provocative as Pretty Ugly, I think it does a good job at just being like a pretty straight down the line summer bop. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing overly exciting about it. I don't think it's going to be a huge hit for her, but I think that it's going to excite her main fans. And I think that the return to MNEK is like a cool kind of full circle moment. I'm giving it a bop. I think that's a bop for me on everything.
You
this
think?
week. It's
Okay.
the one.
Sam,
I
you've
had at
bopped every
lunch.
single song. The Italian Sun's just made you positive about everything.
It's because I had about 10 glasses of wine at lunch and finished it with a grappa. So, this is fantastic. Nettles song of the summer.
Nettles. Blast it. Well, they're blasting it in the restaurant over lunch. I feel like they would be.
They were,
Just
yeah.
loving
The
it.
Italians love.
Yeah.
I asked the people I was at lunch with, for context, I was at lunch with a fully Italian table, and we were trying to make conversation. And I was asking them about Italian artists, and I think they only came up with like four Italian artists that they could give me. It was like Maneskin, Elodie, who's actually been recommended to me quite a lot, and then I threw in Andrea Bocelli and Lady Gaga. So that's the Mount Rushmore
my
of Italian
God.
artists.
We literally had the same conversation. One of our friends we're staying with is Italian. And we were like, who are your top Italian artists? And she was like, Maneskin. And that was basically it. I was
That
like,
was
where
it.
are they? Lady Gaga,
Maneskin
obviously.
and Capote at the moment. It's Damiano David, who's like solo now.
Damiano?
Damiano. Damiano David? David.
I've no idea.
Fucking hell. I'm never drinking before this again.
Okay, yeah. Back to Zara Larsson. Look, the first song I was like, it was a comedy song by accident to me. I started bursting out laughing listening to it and didn't recover. But this one,
Well,
I
at least it gave
actually
you some
think
enjoyment.
I know. This one actually I think is a bop, which is good. I didn't realize it was MNEK produced, which probably makes more sense, but I feel like it's nothing revolutionary. It's still like I want her to be in, I guess, a bit more of a adventurous lane, but not the like
Yeah.
noughties attempt. Anyway, I think it's really good. It suits her voice. The chorus really suits her vocals, and I think this should have just forget about Pretty Ugly and just focus on this, and hopefully the next few songs will be good as well, which I feel like we always say. Larcenous rise, but this song has more gas. It's better.
Forget about Pretty Ugly.
Forget about Pretty Ugly.
Okay, do you have a throwback bop for me this week?
No, do you? I'm just quickly looking at my Spotify because I'm not prepared.
I think I have one. Okay, so my throwback bop or flop, I don't want to go too far back, but I feel like it's going to be an interesting comparison for where one of the artists is now that we spoke about on this podcast. So my throwback bop is To Die For, Addison Rae.
So come take a bite in the middle of the night. My neck to die for, my legs to die for. This sex to die for. I want someone who thinks I'm to die
and Charlie XCX. And I think this is interesting because I think it is a bop and I really like it and I really liked it at the time, but it's so like almost comical now to listen to given where
It's
she's
so
come
far
and like
removed.
how
Yeah.
much she's developed her artistry. And I feel like
Yeah.
so many people have talked about the Charlie thing and how she's in the lineage of Charlie, but she's so purposefully moved her sound away from that. And like she could have easily had Charlie write a song with her on the album or done something like that. And she just didn't, which I think is really admirable and
Yeah.
like was totally the right move to make because To Die For is really fun, but it almost makes me laugh now. And that's why I wanted to like bring it back and talk about it here because it's just feels like a totally different artist, to be honest.
Yeah, that is crazy. Also, she was saying in the interview that she did where she was like, oh, she had the song and then Charlie was like, can I join it? Whereas in my
Yeah.
head at the time, it was like always planned that Charlie was going to join it or something. Like, I didn't know that was the story. I just thought it was like, yeah, which is quite wild. I love Charlie just gets Addison from the beginning, like, and she's just like understands
She got
pop
it
music and like
immediately.
immediately. Like she's always been so smart, but like I think for me that really showed to me how intelligent she really is. And
I
is
also
definitely
think
understand.
letting her go on the Von Dutch remix, like at the time I didn't think much of it, but now that she's released this full remix album, the fact that she gave Addison like the spot for the first remix to come off it and
Yeah,
like let Addison do that scream, I think that just like totally blew open her career. I think that scream really changed a lot, to be honest, because it just like
it did.
felt like a liberating moment for her to start exploring stuff that was a little bit more out of the box.
Yeah, I agree. Also, Charlie was like, "Oh, Addison just screamed. It wasn't part of anything. She just
Yeah.
screamed in the studio, and they kept
Can
it."
you?
And I
I
was
would
like,
have got the fright of my life if I was like at the production desk, just like listening.
"I'm like, sorry, a bit of shush, please. We're trying to record a
Yeah.
song."
She's like, I was
Um,
singing. What?
I'm like, it's the best note you've hit all evening. I think this is a bop, you're right, it's so different to where she is. Also, I love that she with the two, um, like female producers, and they were like, "Oh, was that on purpose?" And Addison was like, "No, not at all." I was like, that is just so funny because it could have been the easiest win to be like, just to lie and be like, "I chose to work with an all-female team or
Yeah.
women," and she was like, "Oh no, not at all. Like that was just pure accident." And I was like, "I should really respect
Which
the
is why it
blatant
feels so
honesty."
genuine because so many other
Yeah,
artists would have come out of the gates and like the second line in the press
said
release would have been like all female team works on major pop
exactly,
album. But instead she's just done
exactly.
something that feels totally natural to her and it's like not surprising that it feels totally natural to her to work with two like girls her
Yeah,
age. Like this should just be happening more naturally in pop with every artist and it shouldn't be a whole
yeah,
like headline of like, oh my god, all female
yeah.
team. Like I just love that she's so nonchalant about that kind of stuff.
She was like, "Oh, complete accident." Like, I was like, the interview was like setting her up for a win, and she was like, "Oh no, not at all." And then they were like, "Okay, next question." So good.
Whereas
Um,
if there was an all female team on Katy Perry's 143, we wouldn't have heard the end of it.
we wouldn't. They'd all be in space with her, and she'd be like, "Yeah, I planned this whole thing. I invented space." Um, Black space. I think.
Down at the
Oh my
Women in
god.
Space business conference.
Do you think Blank Space was written about Katy Perry and Taylor just saw into the future? I think I think it's a bop. It always has been a bop, but I think it's a bop. It's probably not either of their best songs, but like it's just fun and yeah,
Yeah. All right,
it's
fire
good.
me with yours. Hit me
Oh
with yours.
yeah.
Hit me with yours.
Okay. Mine is Sabrina
Daniel
Carpenter.
Bedingfield.
Someone told me they were howling at a Daniel Bedingfield comment. Mine is Stupid Love by Lady Gaga. No, it's Because I Liked a Boy by Sabrina Carpenter.
Now I'm a homewrecker, I'm a slut. I got death threats filling up semi trucks. Tell me who I am, guess I don't have a choice. All because I like.
She
Because
played this on Saturday.
Did she? Did it go off, or
Mhm.
was it? Did it go
Yeah,
mad?
well, it went off for me.
Okay. Oh, there you go. You spoiled it already. I can't have one thing to go first
Oh,
on.
no, sorry. No, all right, you go. It went off
Is it
because I
not?
was furious.
You went off the rails and punched someone in the mosh pit. You are like, this is not the same as
This
Turnstiles. or
fucking
whatever.
song.
I didn't listen to Sabrina before this album. I think I actually listened to it because of you rabbiting on about it. And then I was like, shit, this girl's really good. The lyrics are amazing. And I think, unless I'm mistaken, it's about Olivia Rodrigo and how, Sal was written about kind of Sabrina, really. And she was kind of like, well, I just liked someone and now I'm being like kind of hated on, which is so interesting now. The trajectory of her career is like completely taken off, where she could have just faded into obscurity as like the other woman who kind of was doing whatever. But I think the melody is amazing. It's a really powerful song. Her storytelling is amazing. It's like giving Dolly Parton in terms of being able to tell a story with vulnerability, but also like a bit of fun, and I don't know. So I think this should have like sounds cringe being like, should have a TikTok viral moment, but like I think it could come back
Yeah.
in as a bigger hit given her status now. Like I want her to release something like that, maybe rather than Manchild for the lead single of her next album.
You want a
Something,
ballad to kick it off. Yeah, I could actually see that.
well,
And you
just
know
a bit
why?
different.
You know why I can see it is because like it fits so well in the show on the weekend, because she has this whole like vibe of like what the perfect woman was in like a 1950s kind of sense, and this song is the like exact depiction of kind of like the double standards, and just like I feel like that line of like I'm a home wrecker, I'm a slut, and like saying it
Yeah.
that defiantly and that straightforwardly is just like so powerful in that moment to address that situation like
Yeah.
that, because it was so interesting that she was so vilified for this situation that she really didn't do anything wrong in. Like
No.
they were all teenagers, like just falling in love and like having these like passionate moments that you do when you're a teenager, and then you get over it and it's not a big deal. It just
Yeah.
happened to like spawn a #1 song that turns Sabrina Carpenter into this villain that she never was. And to
Yeah.
be able to like have the balls to go out there, and this is not short and sweet. Like she is not like a massive artist at this stage. She's still an underdog, and she's still got haters. She's
Yeah.
still man's best friend. And to like come out and say, I'm a home wrecker, I'm a slut, is just so, so good. And I remember hearing this for the first time, and this really turned me on her.
Yeah.
Like, not that I was one of the people calling her a home wrecker and a slut,
You
but
were
I was just
literally
kind of
like, you're
nonchalant
quoting
about
me.
her.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
such a good song. This album has so many good songs on it. There's
Yeah.
another one that I listen to all the time. It's these are Fast Times.
Fast Times. Yeah.
Love that one. But
Skinny
yeah, this is
dipping's
a
good as
bop
well. Yeah.
as well. Skinny Dipping's good. I also listened to Skin today because I was going to do her as my throwback too. And Skin's the song that was the first one she released after Driver's License. And it just like did not hit the mark. I don't think.
Right.
Like she could have made such a, if she released this one straight after that, it would have been like, it would have lit the internet up. Like
Yeah.
people would have
Yeah.
gone crazy for it. Instead, she
Yeah.
kind of slipped it into the album campaign, which I guess was clever in the grand trajectory of not trying to like have this really splashy response to the situation, but such a bop and such a testament to like why she is such a good songwriter and why she is
Yeah.
able to like flip this like male gaze thing very cleverly.
Although I will say
even
with
though-
Manchild, when I saw the billboards with the lyrics, I was like, this sounds really fun. And I think they were the most interesting lyrics, which was like, hey men, amen. I don't know. I just was like, oh, I want something like to cling on to it more, but it wasn't for the
Yeah, but I
Manchild
wonder
for
if
me.
we've gotten so used to her kind of cheeky lyrics now that they don't hit because we've already kind of
True.
had that vibe, you know?
But I
Because
want an
this is
I'm a
that
homewrecker,
some
I'm a slut moment. Like, she hasn't given that since. Bring it back.
yeah, well, she might.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see what happens on Man's Best Friend. That is Bop or Flop for this week. If there's a song that we missed, which we probably did because I don't think we talked about many songs, but there were some important ones to cover. And we had to talk about Mariah and her children, Ethel and Addison. So if there are any that we missed, you should let us know in the comments, and we'll try and get to it next week. You can also join our Discord. I'll throw that in the show notes down below. Pop Samcam's New Music Friday is where you can hear all the music that I'm going to be listening to this week. Hit follow, rate us out of 5, do anything you need to do to blow this podcast up. We had a good week. You're the third guest of the week. We had Nick Kelly at the top of the week. We ranked the top 5 most important pop stars. We had Troy, otherwise known as HT Hayes, doing Paramore's Riot with me. Now that I've found out that you're not actually the Paramore fan, I just made up in my head that you were. And now we've got you for Bop or Flop. Next week, we've got the conservative pop episode, which is actually one of my favorites that I've ever filmed because I actually used my brain for it, if you can believe it. We've got the anniversary of Carly Rae Jepsen's Emotion coming up. There's so much to tap into for the Pop Pod. Thank you for joining me, Jono. Ciao. And I was trying to remember this saying that I learnt today. And La prossima volta,
What the fuck does
which
that
means
mean?
like until we meet again, basically.
Oh, I thought it was something
So-
rude. Okay.
Yeah.
Ciao. Arrivederci.
It means I'm a
sayonara.
homewrecker, I'm a slut. All right. Ciao, ciao, everybody.
Ciao,
See you next
ciao.
time.